But there we were, ACC 2025. You heard us talk about the snatch event that we obviously are still not thinking about.
We're still scarred from.
We're not still thinking about it. But we go into an event where it's a heavy lift we're supposed to be good at. And we're normally not horrible.
We do this lift like multiple times a week, both of us.
Yeah. And we know the limit. We actually do know the limitations on like what's like should be challenging or not.
Kelly had the run event. We were supposed to have this.
She had most of the cardio part of the rest of the event or gymnastics. And we were just supposed to pick up a heavy thing a couple times.
Just twice. We really just needed 2 lifts.
So when did I know we should have quit? Not in that moment. The only thing that could have gone worse is if we did not complete it or we did not get points on the board for all the lifts.
That's what they say.
But we needed what? A heaviest?
It was like the top 2, but it didn't have to be. There was really like no rules. Like all the rules were like there were no rules. Like it didn't have to be a double. You could have made one and then missed one, or missed one then made one. It could have been you could have gone up in weight after, they could have been the same weight, or you could have gone down. Like there were no rules.
We had 6 minutes. There were 3 of us, and any 2 of our heaviest snatches would have been sufficient for a score. Yeah, it didn't matter.
We just needed
what
2
order you did it.
We just needed 2 numbers.
And once one person left the floor, they couldn't go back on. So one person would have to go do their lifts, make 2 lifts, and leave the rest of the time for the other 2. So you have to budget your time for everyone to complete 2 heavy lifts in the 6-minute window. So our strategy was sound when we practiced it. Kelly was going first, our gymnasty time girl, snatching more than her body weight probably. She did her job.
Yeah,
she
did so good.
She hit what, 95, 105, I don't know.
But the morale was down for all of us though. I remember like just seeing her face now that you say that. Like she looked so down and defeated also during her snatch.
Yeah, we definitely were feeding off each other too, because she looked down.
Because she missed a few and then she looked so stressed and then it just fed into like, and I also have never seen her like that.
And then when I raised the bar on the anxiety was when I was like, oh no, I've got to, I had plenty of time. I was like, so
she started after a minute, I think. Because she was like, I'm done.
She's like, no, she knew when to quit. She was smart.
Yeah.
She was like, you know what? Today's not the day I'm hitting my heavy lifts. I'm going to get the like solid guarantee and leave enough time for my teammates. Surely they'll carry us through. And then I go and I'm like, oh man, you know what? That was okay. But now I have to hit. I think I was supposed to start at 105 or something.
I thought you were supposed to start at 115 and you actually started at 105.
I started at 105 because I was like, man, that looked heavy. I did not consider this. So I was like, let me make sure I get one lift just in case I mess everything up. I did 105 and then I did 115 and I hit it. So that was...
Yeah.
No, yeah, I did 105 and then 115. I was like, that actually wasn't...
Or did you miss a few in between?
Yeah, something... Yeah, I missed one and then I hit it. So then I went up and then I had to go back. Anyway, the chaos began. I just did a million reps. That's why we don't even know. I was like, I only got, but I feel like it was relatively early that I got the 115 because I kept 105 because I failed everything else.
Yeah.
I think I did 125 and then I tried 120 and then I tried 115 and then I just kept failing. I just did so many. I was like, no. And I was like looking at the clock though because I was like, I got to give Brooke plenty of time because I'm fucking up here and she's better to carry us through.
She's better under pressure. I had too much time.
I wasn't surprised that I was failing. I was surprised because 115 actually felt good when I hit it. I was like, oh, I'll be good for the next.
Yeah.
I was like, surely I can do at least 5 pounds more. And I was like, shockingly, body started to be like, no. I saw her face turn blue. And I was like, perhaps I should resign at this time. But
time I should have quit sooner, maybe.
The point of the story is we didn't know when to stop. No. For anyone who's an actual CrossFitter, we basically did, what is it?
Isabel. Which is 30 snatches for time at 95. Except we did them heavier.
We did heavy Isabel. All we needed to do was stop for 1 fucking second to be like, how do we move forward? Do we move forward? Do I just let Brooke start? It was like, no, frantic chaos. We can all learn from Kelly when it's time to call it quits. She's like, I did my best here. It wasn't what I expected, but I'm out. I feel like the visual of that, if you're not familiar with CrossFit or how weightlifting goes, just imagine someone walking straight into a wall repeatedly, thinking they're gonna get through it. That's what
Yeah.
it felt like. And
Anytime you
after
failed but didn't expect it, like say you studied hard for very, very hard for a test and you're like, oh, I'm gonna ace this thing.
Yeah.
And then you get a D. Like, that's also what that felt because we had such high hope. Like, we had our plan and we were like, you're gonna hit this number and this number. I'm gonna hit this number and this number, and we did not.
You're so right though. When you expect something to go differently, it's hard to accept that it did not go
Yeah,
the
or like
way.
it reminds me actually of my driver's test when I was 16 because I get very bad test anxiety, and so like I would drive with my parents and be fine, and then I would parallel park, I would do all the things, and I failed my driver's test 3 times before I got it. I had to get a new permit. I failed so many
That's
times.
traumatizing. No, that is. We've never talked about this because I also failed my driver's test the first time I took it. And really, like, this is our personality showing because you're like, I get anxiety. So I was fine in front of my family, and then I was different.
And then literally, like, I remember my grandpa took me the one time and he goes, I've never even seen her attempt a parallel park like that. What the fuck is she doing?
This is so real. Wait, I can't believe we never talked about.
Well, I don't know if we said it yet today, but welcome back to Crying at the Gym.
Welcome back. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for hanging in there. As you know, we've had our growing pains, which was evidenced by that last episode that it wasn't our best work, but we're learning.
That was Raleigh's fault.
Raleigh knocked over our system, so she got the wires all out of whack. And so, as you could see, the sound quality was not great. But yeah, if you're new here, we're a mental health podcast, health and wellness. We kind of talk about I like to describe it as everything you can cry about. So work, relationships, life, family, friends,
Good things or bad
hormones,
things.
like yeah. So
Happy cries.
yeah, happy cries. A lot of like our life spirals and just like trying to what we do to get through and are on our unwellness journey. So stay
Please
tuned.
enjoy watching us unravel live here weekly every Wednesday.
Yeah, it's fun.
And if you have been listening, we appreciate you so much. It's just really funny feedback because I like people, my friends are coming in town, and I was like, oh, my friend Brooke, and I don't have to say that anymore because everyone's like, no, we know who Brooke is. I was like, how do you know? That's like when I go back and read my journal.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, were you okay? Like, that's going to be us with this. We're going to be like, oh, were they okay? No, we didn't claim to be, though.
But I think we're getting better.
We are getting better. We're growing every day. Something I could
Which
try.
kind of brings us into our topic for today.
Today we are talking about when to walk away, when to call it quits, as they say, whether it be a job, a significant other, a relationship, anything really, where you have to make a big decision where you're like, do I need to remove myself from this situation or person, workplace, what have you? I think everyone can relate to that in some way, no matter what the circumstances are. But also, like, side note, I also hate the word quit, by the way. Like,
there is a negative connotation to it.
It has a negative connotation, even though it just literally means to leave. But people be like, you quit. I think I have like I have the experience of one of my exes being like, you quit on us. And I was just like an accusation. I was like, well, I did leave. Yeah. I don't know. Like, did you quit your job or did you quit on a person, quit on anything?
Or did you or did you leave, do what's best for you, like make a good decision, make a decision that you heavily weighed versus like quitting is also just makes it sound so like flippant and like it was a rash decision.
Yes.
And it's like, no,
I put a lot of thought and energy into making this decision.
I've actually been thinking about it since last November.
Which is, in fact, what we will be talking through today.
Yeah.
All of what it takes to get to that point of, okay, no, I'm making this decision and I'm doing that with as much information as I have at this time. I think the point of processing all of this is like, you don't want to get to the point where you get to pukey, right? Or you
Yeah.
get to like, oh, that got so bad. It had to be, as I say, I wait till things get catastrophic to be like, oh, yeah, maybe all of those gut instincts I had to remove myself from the situation
And even,
were
like,
glaring signs it was time at that
yeah.
point.
I've even seen so many LinkedIn posts lately of, like, older attorneys or, like, professionals being like, "I didn't realize the toll it was taking on my body until I had a panic attack in the courtroom." And it's like, yeah,
Yeah, you don't want the breaking point, but they come.
they come
And
really
that's
quick.
literally why we're here. We're like, we had so many breaking points.
And I think also because of, like, no one wants to talk about mental health. So people are just, like, in this mindset of, like, "Well, everyone's doing it, so I have to do it." Like, I have to just suck it up
Oh,
and
yeah.
be miserable for the rest of my life.
Yeah. You all have heard us talk about whether on here or in person for those of you who see us at the gym. We talk a lot about toxic work environments. We It's kind of how we bonded
Yeah.
truly. I mean, that's what we were like, oh, yeah, no, that it was like
I
something that was common in the sense that we were both experiencing it, but both aware, like, oh, that's not okay. That's not normal, right?
yeah.
And we kind of commiserated for a while. And then, you know what? We took action. And
Yeah.
here we are.
No, wait, here we are.
And I'm proud of us. But today we're going to talk more about work environments because that's been our recent experiences. But it obviously it applies to any kind of relationship. It could be a
Yeah.
friendship. So for those of you who don't know, um, Brooke and I were both recently freed from our toxic work environment.
But yeah, hard launch. I quit my job. I started a new job. I know that's very trendy right now. Everyone on TikTok's like, "I quit my corporate job with no plan." I had a plan.
She had a plan.
I could not have a plan. But
I've definitely been there too.
yeah.
But it's hard out there.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. That's hard.
Thanks.
Like even saying like I quit my job.
I'm proud of me too, which is I don't know, like I'm glad I'm proud, but like you I don't know.
And saying the like and to even bring attention to people saying quitting their job without a plan, it's also like, oh, so there's like that's actually ties back to the like expectation or some of the reasons you stay
Yeah.
because you're like, well, what would I do? You're like, what will people think? People will ask me what I'm doing and I don't have a plan.
Yeah.
But um like the point is like considering those things is important, but when you're making a decision to leave.
No, and I think it's very situational, right? Like some people I've seen, like they have side hustles and like a second income in their household. I got a mortgage and I'm a single income girly, so I
Yeah.
couldn't not have a plan.
Yes. We talked
True.
at some point about not wanting to, we don't want to get to a point where things are catastrophic and it's like, something's wrong, but you just kind of like wait till it's so bad. You have no option but to leave or be forced out or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So, my question for you, as you bravely quit your job recently, what what was the final thing that made you say, like, "I really need to get out of here"?
I I wouldn't even say there was like a final straw. I think there were many straws that were a part of the final straw
Mm.
because so the environment I was in, well, I was working for an insurance defense law firm, and the team I was on, I was the associate. For most of the time I was there, I was the only associate. And then I worked for the partner. Um, he had a legal assistant who happened to also be his wife. That's another story for another day.
Ooh.
And then I had a legal assistant, and then we had a shared paralegal. And there were many things that happened this summer that I was like, I really gotta go. Because for a while, when I was looking for new jobs, I was not looking at other insurance defense roles. I was looking at like government work. I was looking for at the plaintiff's on the plaintiff side. I was looking at like criminal. I was looking federal, state, whatever. So many different sides and or I guess like fields of law. But then when I was really like, no, I'll take anything. Like, I guess and like insurance defense is primarily what hires, especially in this economy. But um, at the point where I was like, oh, okay, I will take anything. just get me the fuck out of here. There was a series of events that happened. For one, I planned my best friend's bachelorette earlier this summer, and this was planned around our trial schedule and around the schedules of 5 other bridesmaids, 4 other bridesmaids, the bride, and 2 or 3 people who weren't a part of the bridal party but were invited on the bachelorette. So, like, 8 people. Um, and coincidentally, the partner I work for and his wife planned a trip to Italy, after I planned this bachelorette, and it was on the calendar. And they kept trying to get me to cover different things during my trip
Mm.
because it was while their trip was going on. And just, like, kept pushing it. Like, "No, I put in these days, like, months ago. I am not available," to, them just, like, continuing to ask, like, "Well, what time's your flight? What time do you land?" And I'm like, "No, like, during this call, I will be in the air."
Yeah.
I don't think American Airlines will appreciate it if I didn't even fly American.
Yeah.
But if I, am on a phone call in the
Yeah.
middle of the flight with your free Wi-Fi. But, um and then I got back, I had COVID. They got back, I had COVID, it eventually turned to pneumonia. Instead of, like, giving me, like, a singular day to take off, as mind you, I had, like, 30 days of PTO I could have taken. The partner I work for was like, "Oh, well, like, I'm just, like, gotta get through my emails and, like, catch up now that I'm back from Italy, so can you cover, like, this mediation and these depositions and everything?" Like, as I had, like, a 100-degree fever, like, no voice, I was like, "Yeah." So, that was pretty much, and I think it was, like, that week where I was like, "Okay, I'm ready to look at I told my recruiter, I was like, "I'm ready to look at insurance defense roles."
When you started looking for other jobs at first, initially, w was it due to the environment you were in, or you were just kinda keeping like, why?
So yes, it was the environment I was in, but I also it took me a while to figure out, and this actually came up in the interview for my new job because the firm I'm currently working at reached out to me in, like, February, March, and I was like, "I don't think I'm ready yet, blah, 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 blah." And a big part of that was because I needed to figure out if I didn't like my job because of the environment I was in, or I didn't like my job because I don't like insurance defense, or I don't like my job because I don't like being a lawyer. So I was like, I
Mm.
had to do that before I just joined another firm and then left you
Oh.
guys in 6 months.
I think that's, like, the hard part of processing, so, like, when you're like, "I'm not happy here in this place or in this relationship," you're like, "Why? Is it the
Yeah.
person? Is it the workplace? Is it the job?" That's, like, so wise of you to
I just like
sit there and be like,
yeah.
"Is it here? Is it me?" Like, is it
Yeah. I think you referred to this once as, like, your divorce diaries.
Oh, yeah.
I, like, would, like, write down or, like, screenshot, like, different emails that were sent or, like, things that, like, rub me out or, like, things that rub me the wrong way, and then I slowly realized it was the environment.
Yeah, I
But
started journaling as an adult, like, instead of Dear Diary as a kid. I started journaling when I was going through my first divorce. I was like, I need to write down how I feel. Like, it's the very thing that actually made me, and then I just started journaling, like,
mhm.
um, it started with, like, just journaling when I had to make hard decisions so that, like, I could write down how I was feeling after certain things happened,
Oh,
or even write down what happened because people be gaslighting out there, and I'm like, "No, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure." And not you don't wanna be like one, if you already feel like you're in an environment where you have to screenshot everything or take pictures or, like, document, it's like, that is probably the first sign of, "Is this a healthy relationship?" Because no. If you had journaled actually, you probably do this now too, you look back at, like, those messages or whether it was, like, voice notes we shared or,
Even my
but the way I look back at my journal, you're like, "That was bad. I'm proud of me," or like, "Damn, she was so sad, but she was
yeah.
trying so hard and she did great." Like,
Yeah, like, just taking pictures of me crying in my office. Or just, like, taking different notes of, like,
you were journaling.
whatever
You were
yeah,
just
it
screenshotting
was
and
in a different
taking
fashion.
private pics.
Consulting ChatGPT.
Yeah.
There were some instances where I was like, "Am I crazy?"
I'm
And I
gonna,
would
like
ask ChatGPT, and they were like, "No, your boss handled that poorly."
next time we hang out, we should, like, scrapbook we need, like, a good printer. We should, like, scrapbook back journal your experience from then on, and just, like, we'll do it like, Yeah, like a scrapbook where you, like, print the
Yeah.
photos and, like, put them in there, be all your
The
cry checks,
screenshots.
be like, "This was the day." And
The
then
the paragraph-long text messages I sent my family group message, cause I made it I also, like, sent them in a way that I, like, knew the words so I can search for the messages to come back up.
it's like the opposite of a vision board. It's like, "This is where we're going." We're like, "This is where we were." Was there, like, a moment that was, like, the first sign that you're like, "This isn't right?" Like, do you remember, like, a defining moment that way?
I don't know if there was, like, necessarily a, like, super defining moment, but I guess also just, like, a pattern. I started working for this particular partner last April, so April 2024, and it was, like, fine and dandy. Oh! So this is what happened. I did not take my second day of PTO until November, and I remember going to ask for it off. There was nothing on my calendar. And so, like, theoretically, nothing going on in any of my cases that I was aware about, theoretically. Um,
Theoretically. No, true.
so I took this day off, or I requested this day off, and then it was just, like, a weird response, and I'm like, "This is my second day of PTO in, like, at this point, like, from, like, end of February to November that I've taken." And, like, it was just, like, weird. He was,
Mm.
like, looking for reasons not to let me take it almost, and then there ended up being a client meeting scheduled. Like, they s after I requested the day off, they scheduled a client meeting in one of my cases that day, and I was like, At this point, you already said I could take it off, so I got a flight booked to Cleveland, like, sorry."
Yeah.
When I got back from Cleveland, um, we had obviously, we're working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, had Thursday and Friday off for Thanksgiving. I was running a half marathon on Thanksgiving Day. And mind you, my boss took that or like was working from home that entire week, a luxury that I did not have, but the rest of the team had. Um and so he was working from home and then he kept like on Wednesday, he called me numerous times and was like, "Well, I don't know what your schedule is over the next few days, but like XYZ." And I was like, "My schedule is I'm off. My schedule is I'm running a half marathon that I've actually been talking about for months tomorrow."
And secretly training for behind Jeff's back. Sorry.
He doesn't listen.
He probably does.
What a what a supportive king. Um, um, and my plan is I also have family coming into town, and like these are like we
It's
get
the
like 5
holidays.
holidays off a year.
Yeah.
Like that's my plan. So
Yeah.
it's just like that whole situation was weird, but you could take it off to go hang out with your daughter.
Yeah.
So
2 things. 1, I don't know if you realize, because I do, because we talked about the, like, we've talked about burnout, we've talked about when your body tells you to quit and all these little anecdotes. I'm piecing together the timeline of, like, all these moments and knowing you, all the
yeah,
times I saw you crumble or you had, like, some kind of ailment or, like, when
yeah,
you shut down after the half marathon, I'm like, "Were you spreading yourself too thin or this too?" You know,
yeah. That's
like,
true.
this the like, the way those things coincide is crazy. And the other thing, the pattern was obviously, like, he was using you as a crutch for all of the work that he was supposed to be doing, and, like, you weren't available to do his work, so
My mom says that all the
sorry.
time.
Yeah,
She
no,
was
like,
like,
that's very obvious,
yeah,
especially when like, hearing it all at once. Like, I'd seen you, like, in those moments after, and you
yeah.
said too, like, kind of one of, like, not a defining thing, but a moment you're like, "No, this isn't right," is when you would talk to, like, your mom or me or anyone else and be like, "Oh, this is," and you're like, "No," and you're like, "No, right?"
I'm like, "Okay, I'm not crazy for thinking this is off."
It's really hard when you're in those situations because they don't want you to know.
No.
That's why people, like, in abusive relationships, for example, it's like they want you isolated because they don't want you to know it's not good. That's why people who have only worked in the same place, like, follow this, like, cult like culture sometimes. Not only if the employer is, like, treating people really well, that's different, but, like,
Yeah.
in toxic places where people are there for a really long time, they're just used to it and they're like it's normalized, and then someone new comes in, like, how dare we say, like, why do you do that? Or like, that's not okay. And they're like, you gotta go.
But I think he was, like, really, like, trying to see how far he could push us, and I also very vividly now remember one Saturday, I was going to the gym, and he, like, called me, And I was like,
jump scare.
I know. I was like, "What's going
I
on?"
feel
It
like
was like
I
8
saw that.
and it was like 8 AM on a Saturday. Like, it was early.
This is like Inception. This is me now
Yeah.
seeing, like, every interaction I had with you the other side.
So then obviously I had my phone, like, face up every time I worked out, like, right there. But and then I remember he kept saying, "Oh my god, thanks for picking my call on Saturday. Thanks for picking my call on." And so I was like, "Oh, he was trying to see how far he could push me and be like."
He's like, I'm gonna go in as if like no boundaries will ever exist, and you're gonna have to do everything, give it all you got to put some up to see if you can withstand what I'm gonna throw at you.
Mhm.
So, what were the things, if any, you were like, I shouldn't leave? Or was there anything that you felt was keeping you from leaving? Like you felt any pressure to stay?
Well, I think this is silly, but, like, I really was like, "No, I need to make it to my 1 year."
Mm,
And so, like,
we love an arbitrary deadline or
yeah, for
timeline.
why? Yeah. And then I also felt like this guilt. Like, I was like,
Mm,
"Oh, like, he trained me." I
people
trained my
pleasing.
Yeah, I trained myself.
Yeah.
One, like, I just dove in and just figured it out. Anytime I would ask questions, he would be like, "Why don't you go ask this attorney?"
Well, yeah, when people make it seem like you owe them something, you will feel like you owe them something.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's
And
crazy.
they're like, "Oh, like, we paid your bar dues. We pay blah, blah, blah." Every legal employer does.
You make a good point. You made a good point. I was like, what made you feel like you should stay? And it's like, I think it's easy for the people who are pushing out that kind of toxicity to really capitalize on people like you or me who are hardworking, want to do what's right, want to do well, but and also like if you're like used to people pleasing or wanting to not avoid conflict but be
Yeah.
like, "Ugh, everything doesn't need to be a conflict." You're like, I'll just whatever, power through. Like we're power through people, like,
And there's this
and it's weird because it's like it could be a beautiful relationship. Like the irony is that they could have got so much good work out of you if they just left you the F alone or had a system that worked and took accountability for the fact that he wasn't managing his schedule right. Like
Yeah.
ego being like their motivator or like what's driving all their decisions and like people pleasing and being hardworking and your like expectation of yourself being what was driving you. And it's like
Yeah.
such a disaster.
As I was quitting, everyone kept saying, like, "The grass ain't always greener on the other side." Like, all, like, the gaslighting. I'm like,
The grass isn't greener, but it's different.
and
It
it's
could
like,
be a fucking pavement at this point. I
yeah.
don't care. Like this
The
grass is bad.
the grass could be brown.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "It's better."
You're like,
It's
I'm in a fucking black hole. I want
I'm
any
in the
grass.
graveyard.
Yeah, I'm in a graveyard. Give me
But
anything.
all the gaslighting works.
It does.
Until you realize, like, I remember I think I did choose to leave at the right time because I was confident enough in my decision to know that, like, I was being pulled into all these meetings with, like, managing partners and stuff like that, trying to convince me to stay, and me 6 months ago, had I would have quit, I would have folded.
Okay, yeah. So I was gonna ask you, so how'd you do it? How'd it go?
I was I was well prepared for the fact that they were gonna try and get me to stay because that happened to one of my friends at that firm, and she did finally resign also right after I did, but she had tried to resign, like, 6 months prior, and, like, they convinced her to stay, and
Mm.
then they, like, promised her this extra money, and then she never got it. So I was like, "Okay," like, having that
That's
knowledge, I
tough.
was like, "Okay." But so I'm interviewing for a bunch of places, and I interviewed a lot over the summer. There were times I turned down second interviews because I was like, "That's not gonna be any better."
Mm.
Or, like, turned down positions because I was like, "I don't think that's a good fit." But I actually had, like, multiple offers when I got this like, the offer for my current firm, and had never felt I'm a very indecisive person. I don't
Mm.
know if you know that about me,
I'm
but
learning. No,
yeah, I'm so indecisive,
that's
it,
helpful
like,
information. We now
usually
have more
hurts.
information.
Yeah, it usually hurts. From the moment I got this offer, and even, like, as I knew I was about to get a second offer, I was like, "No, I'm going with this firm." But I was just like, "No, the vibe is not right." So I was
Mm.
super confident in this decision. Monday rolls around, I accept the offer, and then I was talking to my recruiter, and he goes, "Okay, so are you gonna put your notice in today?" And I was like, Like, for some reason in my head, I was like, "I'd like to do it by at least Wednesday," but, like,
A
whatever.
Monday is tough
Yeah.
because you have the
Well,
whole rest of the like
and I already
like,
walked
you
in.
need to kinda, like,
Yeah.
walk out on a Friday.
Yeah, no, so it was Monday morning. Oh, and we nailed out my start date. That's the other thing that happened. So I had my start date. So, I was like, I guess I'm putting it in today, but I was like, I envisioned myself having like I was like, I want to give them a paper copy. And my recruiter was like, no, yes. And I was like, I can't type that on my work computer. And he was like, if you're resigning, why not?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. It was just
Yeah.
an imaginary rule I had in my head. I
Oh, that's
like,
weird, yeah.
I don't know. I was like, I can't print it out on the work printer. I ended up doing so. And I was like, that's true. Like, if I'm already resigning, once they learn about it, they'll already have my resignation. I don't know. It was this made up contract I had in my
I
head.
think an email is customary too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's in writing. They can
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I had these like made up rules in my head, but I wanted to hand it because I didn't want to like send it and then go in his office because I knew I was gonna have to have this conversation. So I wanted to be able to like hand it in as I was like, I had a report in another hand that I needed him to look at. So I was like, this is bad timing. I was like, I wanted to do them separately, but like the timing didn't work out because he had people in his office all day. It was his birthday.
Slay.
I was like, I literally texted my family and I was like,
Were you like like take
as I like
paper
I
back?
picked it up off the printer. I was like, um, but I texted my family and I was like, today of all days, and
Do you put anything on the calendar?
I'm anxious as fuck. I did not get a single thing done that day, and he was in a deposition all day, so I couldn't do it earlier. Like, so I was just waiting for him to get done. I didn't even know if I'd make it to the gym that day because I was just like, I was gonna wait it out.
I'm waiting here till tomorrow, till he comes in. Stay there with the piece of paper, like,
yeah. And I didn't know what to write, so I made ChatGPT write it. So
totally, Jack.
Yeah. No, it was great. And then I was like, do I put it in? I was like, do I put an end date? And my mom was like, yes, obviously. Otherwise, they're gonna try and like.
Yeah.
So I included an end date. But otherwise, it was really just like, thank you for my time here. I resign. Like, please accept this as my notice. Blah blah blah. Effect like my last day is this date.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We should make some templates. We'll share them for the masses for all of you considering the same. I have several.
And then I remember, so I go in, put my notice in, and I walk in and I shut the door, and he was like, deer in headlights, if you will, for those listening.
Yeah.
And so I sit down and I was like, so I'm putting in my notice right now. And he was like, why? Or he was like, I think the first thing he said was, where are you going? And I told him the firm I was going to. And he was like, oh, so where this person went? And I was like, yeah. I was like, but that didn't have any bearing on my decision. Like, yeah, that is where she went.
So unprofessional.
And he was like, is there anything I can do? Like, get you more money? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, blah, blah, like, I don't know. And then he goes, so, like, I'm always up for constructive criticism. Like, is there anything, like, I did? And I was like, no.
Like, the is there anything? Yeah. No.
As you will soon hear, everything came out. So the next day, I, like, go in, all is normal. Everyone's acting like, people are acting like it didn't happen. And then one of the other managing partners is like, can I meet with you? And I was like, oh, God. And so I, like, kind of talked with her. Like, I went up to her office and, like, talked to her about, like, why I was leaving or, like, everything. And the most, like, wildest thing is that, like, so I talked to 2 other managing partners. I too worked for a managing partner, and then there were 3 in that office, and then HR. The 2 other managing partners and HR, and then even my paralegal who had been there for, like, working for him for longer than I've been alive, were all like, no, we get it. Like, we understand why you're leaving. Like, yeah, you're not in the wrong. Like, other people have left for this reason. Or, like,
we're surprised you lasted this long.
Yeah, they were like, we've had partners leave for this reason. And it's like, okay, so you're losing so many good billers because you're prioritizing, like, one person who, like, bills well, but is, like, toxic as fuck. And, like, you're willing to, like, lose, like, countless other people for that.
Yeah.
And then I had numerous meetings all week. I really thought they were going to cut my 2 weeks short. They didn't. I wasn't that lucky. Like every other associate who's quit. But Instead I just spent my time, and it wasn't even like I was billing or anything during that time because I was spending my time in meetings with, like, the managing partners trying to convince me to
Oh.
stay. And then I remember I, like, walked into one's office one time, and I was, like, crying because me and my paralegal just had, like, a big heart to heart about it, and, like, all of, like, the real raw reasons why I was leaving.
Mm.
And, I remember she goes, "Well, why are you telling this person about it? Like, it makes it seem like you're already out the door." And I was like, "I put in my notice and I have a start date. I am out the door."
I have an end date here and a start date elsewhere. What more information
Yeah,
do we
but,
need?
like, I spent hours and hours in meetings with them just, like, trying to, so I could easily see how, like, if I wasn't so confident in my decision, I would have just folded.
Yeah. No, I was proud of you. I
Like,
remember we were talking that week and I was like, I mean, I was like, I mean, I've been there and but now I'm here. I was there and now I'm here. And I'm like, no, you don't owe anyone any more conversations. Like you submit it like professionally, respectfully, I resign and I'm starting, or you don't even have to tell them
yeah.
what you're doing next.
Well, and
Like,
then I had to reiterate, like, I've had all these conversations, and then I had to reiterate it, like, the following Monday because they were trying to send me to this pretrial conference where, like, the judge really wants the attorney trying the case to appear for, and I was like, "I'm not gonna be trying this case because I will be at a different firm."
I don't think they realized it was only confirming more the reasons you should leave. So how did you feel after? Like, I know that week you kind of just
Okay.
talked about,
Yeah.
but then like
S
it's been several weeks since, and I notice a change. I know I'm not the only one. People at the gym are like, "Wow, Brooke is like skipping in here." Joe the other day, our gym owner, or you guys know
you know,
Joe.
Joe.
If you haven't listened to the episode with Joe Schinner, our owner or coach of CrossFit Total Control where we met, he was like, "What are you guys gonna do when you're not crying at the gym anymore? You guys look so happy lately." And I was like, "I know it's so bad for business." When people notice too is such an indicator.
And people, like, I expected, like, you to notice. I expected, like, my family to
You look
notice.
happier. Like I
I
said.
What I didn't expect was, like, people I talk to maybe once a week to notice, and, like,
Yeah.
who don't know me that well, to be like, "Oh my god." But so day of, I immediately felt relief because 1, I put in my notice and then he left, so I promptly left, and then we went and did our interview with Joe. And I felt great, but then the, like, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afterwards, as I was being, like, constantly pulled into meetings, I have literally never felt so emotionally, like, drained.
Mhm.
And then it was just, like, a
Your
roller
amygdala
coaster.
and prefrontal cortex at war.
Yeah.
That
No,
was a lot.
I was just, like, drained, had, like, no
Energy
I would come
vampires.
yeah. I would go to the gym, just, like, go through the motions, and then I would come here and, like, lay down. And
That's
I was just like,
hard. I know that feeling. It's really you're
yeah.
like, "That's so much."
And
Like,
yeah, and then I started to feel relief the second week. I was really relieved, so my last 2 days when I had to, like, my office, the partner I work for and his wife were on his birthday trip, so they weren't in the office, so that made it a little easier.
a fly on the wall in their
I think
hotel.
that's the only reason I stayed because I had to cover a depot. I think that's the only reason they kept me around.
Oh my
But
god. He's like, "When's your last day?" Because I've got stuff going on. Literally
well,
every second
he
he
kept
can.
telling me, like,
Ew.
I kept asking, like, "Do you want me to do, like, exit memos? Do you want me to, like, continue, like, working on these cases so that they're like, what do you want me to do to transition?" And he said, "I'll let you know and never let me know." So when I finally left, I was like, relief. It was sad because I do love my old paralegal and my old legal assistant so
Yeah,
much.
everything's not bad about the
But yeah,
situations.
and then I took a week-long sabbatical between my last day and my
Week-long sabbatical. I'm on a full miniature retirement. You were off for like 4 days.
that week, I remember I was like, "I feel at peace. Everyone's noticing I'm happier," but I was still waking up anxious every day. And then I was really anxious to start this new job because I was like, "What if I made the wrong decision?"
Oh, yeah.
But then literally as soon as I got there Monday, I was like, "No, like, the air's different here, like, it's good." And so since then, like, I've left work every day. I'm, like, not walking on eggshells in the office. Like, I feel
Yeah.
so at peace,
You texted me the
not
other day, you're like
anxious.
or yeah, it was Friday, and you were
Yesterday.
saying yesterday, you were saying that, you're like, "Wow, it's so weird to leave work at the end of the week and not feel totally drained, like I can't do anything," and I was like, "Oh,
Feel
you did
energized.
it.
Yeah.
You you work so hard to get there too. It's like it's not graceful. I mean,
Here we
it's not
are.
graceful. Here we are.
No.
It's also part of the reason we started this was because we were like, there's got to be something more fulfilling in this life. The way you feel after a big decision like that says so much. One, the feedback, yes, you get from other people, but like, yeah, the energy you feel, the way your body will respond, the way
Mhm.
you just like move about your life, like, whoa, like you just see the world
In
again.
color.
Yeah, you're like, wow, this
Oh,
is
I got
real.
my sparkle back. But yeah, no, literally, and like even beyond just like the people at the gym, there was so much validation that I got that I didn't realize I would get. That I was like, I didn't think I would get. But like, and I'm glad I didn't have beforehand because I'm glad I made the decision on my own. But like, my paralegal, for instance, like went into like the partner's office and was like, I think, like, she was like, "These are the reasons that, like, Brooke is leaving, like, blah, 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 blah." And she was like, "To be honest, like, I could have told you this at this meeting when you, like, ambushed her over this, this, and this." And I literally walked out of that she was like, "I, as the person who you weren't even ambushing, walked out and was like, 'Holy fuck, what just happened?'" And then, like, other attorneys have been like, who are, like, friends with the partner I worked for, are like, "You made a good decision. This is a good
Yeah,
step."
we're gonna have a full follow-up about how bad can be in those situations because
I don't
I
even
cannot I'm like I can't even start my TED talk on this.
sometimes a work environment can be good, but, like, it might not just not be the environment for you, and I think that's such a good lesson to learn also, like,
Mhm.
I mean,
It
I'm not saying that was the
it's
case,
so
but
no, but it's so connected to all the other things that we've talked about. One is like, um yeah, like the learning aspect of it, but how you like your relationship with how you connect your self-worth and your value to your job title is a motivator to stay in a certain
Mhm.
job or career field. Your like if you're an overachiever, you feel like it might be a failure if you quit something. All the things are connected. Well, like we are people living whole lives and we're in that setting. If you work a conventional like 9 to 5 kind of place around other people, you're with all these people relationshiping all day. Seems crazy when you say it that way.
It's
I do have something funny to say because one, when you're talking about your resignation and how you were like, I don't like the awkwardness of it being his birthday and like you being like, "Huh, huh, huh," like it's on the printer, first of all. Like walking to the printer that you've just printed your resignation on is like the longest journey you can take.
and then it's also funny because I was like, so we have to, like, print things to either, like, specific matters, because it,
Oh,
like, bills the client directly or our personal one, so I was like,
well,
trying to figure out my personal one
you
to
should have billed the 6 minutes it took to write your resignation and print it. I mean,
it took more than 6 minutes
it is work
because,
time.
like I
Oh
said,
yeah, it takes forever.
I was so stressed about it.
Yeah.
And then also, I didn't even mention this. So I was typing my resignation, right? And I'm like actively typing it. I have other tabs up, but the partner I worked for's wife walked in, was like, "I have a question," and she immediately comes around to my like screen, so I had to like minimize it. Apparently, she didn't see it,
That was
but
fast.
I was like, she walked down and was like, "Fuck," she definitely saw
I
it.
think I would have taken the monitor and thrown it across the room. So cool
I
under
was just
pressure.
like, multi-generational friendships did play a role, because I
Mhm.
remember
In the workplace.
one day when I was,
Yeah.
like, a lowest of lows, not even in the workplace, I remember
Oh.
when I walked into the gym bawling that one day,
Mm.
um, Megan,
This is like her
she's
fourth shout out. She's
she
like
gets so many
famous.
shout-outs. I remember Megan being like, "I don't want you to feel like you are abnormal, but, like, how this place is making you feel is not normal."
She said the same to me.
And so it's just, like, so instrumental, like, I guess, like, moral of the story, like, when people around you are like, you have all the signs, and, like, if you are, like, thinking about it and, like, feeling this way and, like, just, like, also, like, talking with other people about it, like, they are the most objective people to it's like a mediator, right? Like,
Mm.
they are not involved in, like they don't have any stake in the matter.
So would that be your advice to anyone who's in a similar situation or who's contemplating like leaving a bad situation or a
Yeah.
job?
No, I think well, yeah. I think, 1, you gotta trust your gut. Trust your gut, because I mean,
She's a hard read
she
sometimes.
is a hard read, but, like, my gut was telling me since November that I needed to leave,
Mm.
and you need to gather new information so you can be confident in your decision.
Mhm.
But I think in just speaking about what I was dealing with at work with my older friends, even like my friends who were my age, like I remember bawling in a bar in Pittsburgh to my best friend about it
Mm.
and just like talking it out to other people. Not like you need that validation, but it does help you realize that you're not crazy
Oh,
and
yeah.
that like the situation you're dealing with isn't for you.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like you gotta leave that job, like one, you should probably start looking because there's a reason you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
And then again, also what I was talking about earlier, like try and like pinpoint why you're feeling that way so it can help you make an informed decision
Yeah,
for
I
your
liked
next
when you
step.
said, like, the first phase was like, "Okay, I feel like I need to leave here, but why? Like, is it the
Yeah.
job? Is it the place, or is
The,
there something?"
the profession
And
as
on
a
the flip
whole,
side of that
yeah.
too, if you're, like, feeling like you wanna stay for reasons that are good, this is, like, I do this sometimes. I'm like, "No, but it's so good because" list those things out and then be like, "Okay, but is it because they're providing that, or is it something I can have somewhere else?"
Mhm.
There's no such thing as a toxic relationship. It's just that you've overstayed your contract there. And I
Yeah.
thought that was a really interesting
You've
perspective.
outgrown your environment.
Yeah, like to be like, "Okay, this it doesn't mean you made a mistake by being there. Like,
No.
you learned things, you grew there. It's just y you have, like, these expectations and they're not being met, or they're opposite of what,
Mhm.
you expected it to be or what you thought would provide value to you. So, you have to, like, I mean, we do this all day, like, look at a contract and be like, "This wasn't part of that." Like, this is like, so you
Yeah.
have to know what you're willing to, like, accept and your boundaries, like, calling on a Saturday, that thing, you're like, "This
Yeah.
wasn't part of my contract, and it's becoming increasingly doing things outside of the contract. So, either I overstay this or I
Yeah.
move on and have a new one." But
Yeah. No, absolutely. And like my assistant was also I talked to her heavily about that because her mom actually worked for our firm as a paralegal for like 10 years. And she said her mom said so many times, like, no, like this firm is a great place for new attorneys because you get a lot of
mm,
experiences and like you kind of just like dive in. But like it's a good place for new attorneys. Like you can take those skills elsewhere.
thank
And
you
so
for your
it
service.
was again so validating. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, like no, like it does get better elsewhere. Like
Yeah.
next week we will be kind of diving into the same topic, but through the lens of like toxic and abusive relationships. So, and I'm gonna interview Liz. So,
I'm really nervous.
but yeah,
I'm
so
really nervous because 'cause I'm a toxic oversharer. Feel free to reach out too of, like,
yeah,
what situations you've been or if you can relate. Or, like,
if you need advice, we can try and help you.
if you have advice, you can help us. Yeah, so
Please.
we do have a line on line. We have, like, a recording line. It's
Yeah,
in a link in our bio. It's called I think it says Crash Out Chronicles, and you can click on the link, and it's very easy. You just, like, type in your name or write anonymous, and you just, like, press record. I think it's a 90-second time
max.
limit, so plan your story out or what you wanna say, or you can submit multiple, but I love this tool, and
Yeah.
we plan on using it soon.
If you don't follow us on socials, follow us on socials so you can leave us a
Yeah.
voice note.
Yeah, also, if you think anyone else will get anything from this, whether they have or need any kind of insight or advice on these topics or have something to share, please do share our profile. We it's at We Are Crying at the Gym on Instagram and TikTok. And are we on YouTube now?
Yes, sorry, I figured that out.
But for those who want to watch the video, I know it's on Spotify, but not everyone has Spotify. Just Brooke's dog here. Um,
Suited.
so you can watch on YouTube now.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you next week for toxic relationships.
See you crying at the gym or maybe laughing. Talk to us, K. Love you. Bye.